we were talking about, Darick Hall is obviously the first
Mm-hmm.
guy in line to start at first base. Been with the organization since 2016, 27 years old, entering that 28-year-old season. He was ready for the big leagues anyway. He was ready for more big league opportunities after what he did last year. 9 home runs, 16 RBIs, a 250 batting average. I think he was right on that bubble of making the roster anyway. Obviously, it's an unfortunate situation for him to get this opportunity, but nonetheless, it is an opportunity for Darick Hall to really prove he's a consistent big league player and can be an everyday first baseman. I think he has that upside, especially in the bat. Maybe there will be some struggles against left-handed pitching early on, kind of to be expected with him being a left-handed bat. Maybe it winds up being Bohm spending a little bit of time at first base to kind of supplement Hall, because Hall's obviously not going to start every game. That's kind of unrealistic. So maybe Bohm goes over to first. Schwarber has played a little bit of first, 11 games in his career, mostly with Boston. And then you've got Real Muto. JT Real Muto has also made some starts at first. So I think it's really Hall's. Hall's is going to take the bulk of the workload, and then those guys will kind of supplement him from there.
No, I agree with you. Hall, obviously, it's his job to lose right now before they explore any other option. Like you said, maybe it's a Bohm or Real Muto, but that's likely an off day spot. And obviously, for Real Muto to be at first, they would have to have one of their have a backup catcher to be ready to go. And right now, they're a little light at that with Marchand and, like we talked about before the show, Marchand and Stubbs both being a little bit banged up right now at the moment. But like you said, this is Hall's job to take over and kind of run with it. And we saw, last season, coming up, with the organization, he kind of was on one of those runs where he was just lightning the bottle. Everything he hit, it was just, he was hitting it hard. He was driving the ball, but either, going over the wall or it was going for like a double, right? Everything was just hitting. He was just making solid contact, he gets his arms extended, and if he sees that ball over the middle of the plate, he's just crushing it. And he's hit monster home runs. And last season, we're talking, he slashed 250, 282, and 522 with 9 home runs, 16 RBIs. A lot of people had some issues with the 44 strikeouts, but again, in 136 at-bats, 41 games, it's not great. But again, first year playing Major League Baseball consistently, guys don't get a real pitchers don't really know you, but once they start to see you a little bit more, they can start to pick up on certain things and kind of exploit those matchups. And he struggled against left-handers, as we talked about. He struggled against them. I think he was 0.087 against left-handers, so it wasn't good. But again, like you said, he's lefty, so the ball's going to come out in a different way. It's going to look differently coming across the plate, but it is his job to lose. And stat that you pointed out before the show, which I thought was very important, was his stats at Lehigh Valley last season, which kind of led to him getting that move up to the big league club last year. He hit 28 home runs, 88 RBIs, 254, 330, 528. I think you see those numbers, and I think how many games was that with Lehigh Valley in 2022? Was that had to be over 100, right? I feel like it might be because he did go back to. Yeah, about to say he did go back to the minors after I think Harper came back. I think he went back up to Lehigh Valley. So 100 games, 28 home runs, 88 RBIs, 254. If you're a Phillies fan, and we could play hypotheticals here, if he plays 100 games right this season, we're thinking hypothetically we'll go 100 games. And he gives you, I'm not going to say he's going to give you 28, right? But if he could give you 20 home runs and maybe 75 RBIs, would you be okay with that? Batting maybe 250 to 260.
I am okay with that. I was literally thinking, as long as it's in that 250 range, and anything 25 plus is a really good season. Like you said, maybe 28's a little hefty, but hey, man, a 25 home run season from Darick Hall this year. Like you said, last year, only 40 games, his first time hitting major league pitching in his career. I think it was a good way for him to get his feet wet, especially with the Phillies going on to have that great run. You know what I mean? He was a part of it. He was a part of the big league team that year. Now this year, take that step. Be a full-time big league guy. The opportunity is there to be a full-time first baseman. I mean, with a couple rest days here and there, but the job is Darick Hall's to lose for sure. So this is a big year for Darick Hall, obviously, with this opportunity.
It is. And when we talk about first base, but just talking about Hoskins, right? the Phillies are going to be missing a guy in Hoskins who hit, and pulling up his numbers right now, a guy who hit 246 last season with 30 home runs, 79 RBIs. Again, wasn't a great batting average, but over his career, Rhys Hoskins has kind of been a 240-ish hitter over his career. So 242 over his career, 242 over his career, and this kind of been trending that way for a long time, but still 30 home runs last season.
He's a power guy. That's what he is. Even if he's hitting 240, if he's hitting those 30 home runs, that's what you're looking for. And we were talking before the show, probably seems like, after this season, he'll get a 1-year deal to return to the Phillies, maybe somewhere 10 million plus. I think that would be fair.
Yeah, I would think so. Unless Darick Hall really ascends and just takes off.
Takes the job, yeah.
And you said takes the job. But then, like you said, you could even bring Hoskins back and he becomes your permanent DH too.
DH. Yep. That's where that DH spot comes in really handy. And I think Darick Hall could do that. And then he'd be entering 28, 29 years old. That's at least 3 or 4 years, entering his 30s where he could be the Phillies first baseman comfortably.
Right. Exactly. Until, De La Cruz, if he continues to make his upward trend, take over and get up to the major league club, but we're like a couple years down the road.
You never know. They could do so many different things between now and then. It's especially at first base, you do have some flexibility.
Definitely have some flexibility.